Turn to Proverbs 7:19. This will be the last verse for tonight. Still talking about the strange woman, and this is her appeal to this foolish young man. She said in verse 18, "Come, let us take our fill of love until the morning. Let us solace ourselves with loves." And then she goes on to explain why she's able to do this. She says, "For the goodman is not at home. He is gone a long journey." Let's look at that first part. For the goodman is not at home. Now, goodman's an old word that we don't use today. It is used several times in the Bible. It means, it's sometimes used as a vague title of dignity or a respectful form of address. It is the master or male head of a household or other establishment, the host of an inn, the keeper of a prison. You remember when Jesus told the disciples to go to the man's house and say that we're going to prepare to make ready the Passover here. And it says there that they went to the goodman, and they talked with the goodman. He was the keeper of the house. It's also a householder in relation to his wife, a husband, and that's how it's being used here with the strange woman. So when she says the goodman is not at home, she's referring to her husband. He's not at home. So up to this point, it would have been possible for the young man to think that this woman was not married, because there was really no indication that I can see prior to verse 19 to tell him that she's married. She does have her own house, but it's possible she could have been a wealthy woman. Or maybe she could have been a widow or something and been left an inheritance, or could have been like Lydia, seller of purple or something, and had wealth. Lydia had a large house where she had people to come into. So there's nothing guaranteeing that she is a married woman at this point, up until this point. Any fool should have known that she was a whore, though, based on her words and actions, though he might not have known that she was an adulteress. Right? There's no way that you couldn't have known she was a whore just by the way she was dressed and the way she was talking and those kind of things and how forward she was. But it's possible that she was just, an unmarried harlot. But now there's no doubt that she is an evil, unfaithful woman, because she just told you, the goodman's gone. My husband's away. Right? She tells him that the goodman is not at home. This is obviously a suggestive comment. Right? What else does that mean? Except when you meet a man and you start flirting with him and you say, "Oh, my husband's not home." What does that mean? I mean, that should be a red flag. If the goodman would have known what was going to happen when he was gone, he likely would have stayed at home and not suffered the wife thief to enter his house. If you catch what I'm talking about here in Luke 12:39. Luke 12:39. Jesus said, "And this know, that if the goodman of the house had known what hour the thief would come, he would have watched and not have suffered his house to be broken through." If he would have known a thief was coming, he wouldn't have gone to sleep. He would have been watching and waiting, and he wouldn't have allowed the thief, to come in and steal his possessions. Well, likewise, the goodman of the strange woman's house would have stayed home, and he wouldn't have allowed that wife thief to come in.
Well, it seemed as if he wasn't a wife thief because she invited him.
Well, she goes willingly, but yeah, he's still a thief. He's still taking another man's wife, even if she's does it voluntarily.
Even if she's initiating it.
Mm-hmm. It's kind of like you guys used to say with the basset hound. If a thief came in, he would leave with him. Mm-hmm. I mean, he's still a thief if he steals your basset hound, even if the hound goes willingly, right? She says he is gone a long journey. Now, to alleviate any concern of getting caught, she assures him that her husband won't be back for a while. Not only is he not at home, he's gone a long ways away, and he's not going to be back. And she says that in the next verse. We'll get to that. Whereas if this wasn't enough to entice the young man to not worry about the husband being gone, the next verse will definitely cinch that up. The fact that the woman would commit adultery as soon as her husband leaves on a trip should have been ironclad proof that she was an evil woman. Even a fool should have known to run from any woman who would do such a thing. But at this point, see, the guy, he's just not thinking anymore. If he ever was thinking, he certainly isn't thinking now. He's all excited, and all he's thinking about is what's coming next. And I mean, after all, there's even hardly any chance of getting caught now because her husband's not even home and he's gone, and why not?
Nobody will know.
Nobody will know, except Solomon, and then he wrote it down for the whole world to know about it.
Yeah.
So next time we'll look at verse 20, where she talks about how he's gone and taken a bunch of money with him, and he's not going to be home for a long time. Just a quick note at the end of the sermon. The most important thing a believer in Jesus Christ can do is to be a member of one of God's true churches. If you're not already a member of one, go to pastorwagner.com/churches to see if there is a true church or other believers of like faith